Commencing transmission. Engaging scramblers. Proxy chain initialized. And now, live from his hidden base at the Earth's core, the future ruler of Earth, Doomcock.
You know, every once in a while you come across a story that is so aggravating, so outrageous, it just beggars belief. And so it is with the story of George R.R. Martin and his staggering arrogance when it comes to the fans he has screwed over for a decade who have been waiting in vain for the winds of winter. I have been telling fans of A Song of Ice and Fire, aka Game of Thrones, for years now, to abandon all hope of ever having that story finished. Just forget about it. It's never going to happen. At the point when I started saying that to people, the Winds of Winter had been delayed for 8 years, and I was just doing simple math. It doesn't take Vulcan logic to realize that if George R.R. Martin is taking 8 years to finish the second to last book, it's going to take him at least that long to finish the final book. And given his age, there's almost no chance that he will even live to finish the series. I was saying that when the book was 8 years late, and now we're pretty much at the point where The Winds of Winter has been allegedly in the works for 11 years. To say that George R.R. Martin has been grinding away at the novel for 11 years would of course be inaccurate, since if he had been working on it for 11 years, it would have been finished years ago, no matter how long the damn thing is. No, my friends, it is more accurate to say that George R.R. Martin has been neglecting and largely ignoring Winds of Winter for 11 years while working on numerous other projects that pay better and are easier to work on. This hack is cranking shit out all right. Elden Ring, the new game, he worked on that. He's worked on the insulting and cheesy and deeply troubled HBO show that absolutely nobody wants, the Game of Thrones prequel series House of the Dragon, perhaps one of the most worthless series ever conceived, since at this point, we've all seen how Game of Thrones ends, and that ending was such cringe, incompetent garbage that I and countless other former fans of the franchise have zero desire to ever return to that universe. The ending was so utterly worthless, shoddy, and rushed that it has absolutely killed any possibility of rewatching Game of Thrones, because with an ending that abominable and worthless, nothing whatsoever that came before matters in the slightest. Who cares about any of these people when you know it all ends in a silly spectacle you need spectacles to see in the dark substandard lighting, and motion sickness pills to deal with the slapdash shaking camera that tries and fails to pass as excitement and substitute for competent direction and battle choreography? The mysteries are all botched. The characters are not true to themselves. Dan and Dave kinda sorta forgot how to make a decent show, focused as they were on the Star Wars job they would subsequently get dismissed from. There is no earthly reason why we should ever want to come back to revisit the crushing disappointment and failure of HBO's Game of Thrones in a rewatch or a prequel series. But George R.R. Martin found the time to work on a prequel series, while the original book series that put him on the map languishes and dies from neglect because George R.R. Martin can't be bothered to finish it and doesn't give a shit about the promise, the tacit promise he made to his once avid fans to finish the damn story they've invested in for decades. One would think that George R.R. Martin would at least have the decency to hang his head in shame, withdraw to his lavish home built on money bilked from fans who trusted that he wouldn't abandon them, and never mention Game of Thrones again. But if you thought that, you'd be wrong. In an article on AV Club, writer William Hughes documents the latest insult from that greedy hack George R.R. Martin, who has the unmitigated balls to dare call out fans for his own failure. The article is entitled, George R.R. Martin says he's sorry for people who only care about Winds of Winter. And in the article, this contemptible hack is documented saying this about his upcoming projects and about his poor, long-suffering, once loyal fans. Quote, I did get a lot of work done in 2021, an enormous amount of work in truth. I seem to have an enormous number of projects. I know, for many of you out there, only one of those projects matters, and I'm sorry for you. They all matter to me. Of course, I am still working on the Winds of Winter. I have stated that 100 times in 100 venues. Having to restate it endlessly is just, wearisome. I made a lot of progress on Winds in 2020 and less in 2021, but less is not none. Unquote. Ha ha! Oh, I see, George. So basically you're saying you worked on an enormous number of projects in 2021, but none of them was Winds of Winter. Oh, sure, you worked on it in the sense that you didn't make zero progress. That could mean anything from you wrote a couple of chapters to you wrote a couple of paragraphs for all we know, but let's face it, George. You did work on a lot of other projects. You finished other projects, lucrative HBO projects, other books. Essentially, you did anything and everything you could that wasn't Winds of Winter, and in the face of this obvious and disgusting failure, the demonstrable contempt for your fans and your audience, you have the balls to shift the blame to fans for this debacle, to tell these good people who foolishly put their trust in you that they don't care enough. Fuck you, asshole! So you're trying to keep milking them and conning them with more Westeros crap to keep lining your coffers, just not the actual Westeros crap that was promised, not the story that fans want and have been waiting to conclude for decades. And you dare get all pissy with fans who are legitimately asking, hey, when are you going to finish the story you promised us? By saying, well, obviously I care more about Westeros than you fickle fans do. Here I am cranking out little dribs and drams of Westeros fiction, and you're not kissing my ass? And you won't lap it up like good little piggies? You're calling them out for losing interest in and faith in your dead universe when it's your own delays and indifference that's responsible for that? Seriously? You fucking hack. You try to throw fans under the bus with some self-serving bullshit judo trick, saying you feel sorry for fans who only care about Winds of Winter, but you're superior to them because you supposedly care about all the shitty exploitative side projects you do as a substitute for actually finishing the goddamn story? Unbelievable. You know who I feel sorry for, George? I feel sorry for people who care at all about Winds of Winter specifically, or Westeros in general, because you've left them completely high and dry. Is it their fault for caring about your scribblings? After all, you wanted them to care back when you gave a damn about the story you were telling, right? I mean, that's marketing, that's salesmanship. You've got to get your potential customers to care about your product, to desire your product. And so it was, and so fans did care. But somewhere along the way, you just got too damn rich to give a shit about keeping your promise to tell this story, to finish this story. Once the books got big enough and you got your huge payday, both financially and critically for the HBO series Game of Thrones, you just got lazy or blocked or complacent or greedy. God only knows what the hell is going on behind that beard and beneath the Zorba the Greek's cap. But I tell you this, buddy, it's not the fault of fans for caring, except insofar as they are at this point clearly deluded rubes if after 11 years they still believe that this story will ever be complete. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, George. But that's the only shame here. It's a shame to be fooled by the same con man for 11 years, but it's not a shame to care about a story. You only say that because, let's face it, you no longer care. You no longer have any real intention to deliver on your tacit promise to finish the story that people have invested their time and money and faith in. You have disappointed legions of fans. You should hang your head in shame and go away and shut up. But no, you have to lash out at fans, play the victim, and whine and bitch that you're working on lots of Westeros stuff, just not the stuff that fans care about and have been waiting to see finished for decades now, with 11 years passing without a new installment. Anyone who gives this hack the time of day, watches his spin-off garbage, believes his nonsense about working on Winds of Winter, cares in the slightest about anything this guy has to say, is a fool at this point. A sad fool that enables George R.R. Martin to blame the fans for his own betrayal and disappointment. It makes me sick. It's one thing to be unable to finish a project for reasons beyond your control, like bad health or death in the family, fire or ice. It's another thing to get so fat off the fans you've been milking for decades that you simply abandon them now, that you've had enough and got what you wanted. You suck, George, and no one should pay you the slightest bit of attention moving forward, except to cry shame at you when you pass. From the center of the earth, this is Dictor Van Doomcock bidding you all, my friends, stay angry.
Ha 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 ha.